everyone, welcome to Foundation Math Club. Today we are going to discuss rules of divisibility. When do we say a number is exactly divisible by another number? Now let's take two examples, 24 divided by 4 and the other 24 divided by 5. Solving the first one, 4 times 6 is 24. On subtracting we get the remainder as 0. In the second one, 5 times 4 is 20. On subtracting, we get the remainder as 4. Now, the difference between these two is, in the first case, our remainder was 0 and in the second case, it was 4. So, when the remainder is 0, we say that 24 is exactly divisible by 4. When the remainder is not equal to 0, then we say that 24 is not exactly divisible by 5. Okay, so for a number to be divisible by the other number, we have to get the remainder as 0. In other words, I can say that 4 is a factor of 24. Now moving on, let's see what is the rule for divisibility by 2. All we have to do for divisibility of 2 is check for the last digit. The last digit has to be either 0, 2, 4, 6 or 8. Now why is this? If you observe the last digit in the 2's timetable, you can see the pattern 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, 0. This goes on repeating. So if you have, all you have to do is check for the last digit. If the last digit is even, because 0, 2, 4, 6, 8 are even numbers, then we say that the number is divisible by 2. In our example over here, 132, the last digit is 2. Now we know 2 is even, so therefore 132 is divisible by 2. Moving on. Now, for divisibility by 3, all you have to do is check if the sum of the digit is a multiple of 3. For example, let me take the same number 132. All I have to do is check if the sum of the digits, sum of 1, 3 and 2. Now the sum of 1, 3 and 2 is 6. Now we know that 6 is a multiple of 3. 3 times 2 is equal to 6. Now if the sum is a multiple of 3 or if it's divisible by 3, then the whole number 132 is divisible by 3. Moving on. Now let's see the divisibility test for 4. All you have to look is for the last two digits. If the last two digits are divisible by 4, then the number is divisible by 4. Now for example, I am taking over here 1432. The last two digits over here are 32. Now is 32 exactly divisible by 4? Yes, because 32 is a multiple of 4. 4 times 8 gives us 32. So therefore 1432 is divisible by 4. Let's just check out over here. 1432 whole thing divided by 4. 4 times 3 is 12. On subtracting we get 2, bringing down 3. We have 4 times 5 as 20. On subtracting we get 3, bringing down we have 2. 4 times 8 is 32. On subtracting we get the remainder as 0. So therefore 1432 is exactly divisible by 4. Moving on, let's see what is the divisibility for 5. If all we have to do is look for the last digit. If it is 5 or 0, then the number is divisible by 5. Now as you observe in the 5 times table, the pattern which repeats in the last digit, it is always 0, 5, 0, 5, 0, 5. So therefore all you have to do is look for the last digit. For example, I have two numbers over here, 225 and 220. Now in both cases the last digit is either 5 or 0. Therefore 225 is divisible by 5. So is 220. Now moving on. Now for divisibility by 6, all you have to do is see if the number is divisible by both 3 and 2. Now for example, 132 is divisible by 2 because we have an even number as the last digit. Now we have to check if it's divisible by 3. If for divisibility by 3, all we have to check is if the sum of the digits is a multiple of 3. Now 1 plus 3 plus 2 is equal to 6, which is a multiple of 3. So therefore 132 is divisible by 6. Now why is that so? Because 6 is equal to 2 times 3. So the factors of 6 are 2 and 3. So every multiple of 6 has to have its factors as 2 and 3. So therefore 132 is divisible by 3. All you have to check is if the number is divisible by 2 and 3, both 2 and 3. It cannot be just 2 or 3. It's 2 and 3. Now moving on, divisibility by 7. Now this is something very interesting. All we have to do in this case is double the last digit and subtract the sum from the rest of the number. Now if the result is divisible by 7, then the original number would also be divisible by 7. Now we have to go on repeating this rule until we get a multiple of 7. If not, even 0 is okay. Either a multiple of 7 or 0. Now in this case the last digit is 9. What is double of 9? That would be 9 times 2, which is 18. Now the remaining number is 74. So 74 minus 18 gives us 56. Now we know that 56 is a multiple of 7. 7 times 8 equal to 56. Now therefore 749 is definitely divisible by 7. It's quite simple. Just double the last digit and subtract it from the remaining number and check if the answer is a multiple or is it divisible by 7. Okay? Now, let's see divisibility by 8. In this case, all we have to do is check the last 3 digits. If the last 3 digits are divisible by 8, now I'm going to again take the same example, 1432. The last 3 digits are 432. Now let's check if 432 is divisible by 8. 8 times 5 is 40. On subtracting, I get 3, bringing down 2. 8 times 4 is 32. Subtracting, I get 0. So I can conclude that 1432 is divisible by 8. But let's just check it out. 1432 divided by 8. 8 times 1 is 8. On subtracting, I get 6. Bringing down 3, we have 8 times 7 as 56. Subtracting, I get 7. I have to bring down 2. We know that 8 times 9 is 72. So on subtracting, we get the remainder in this case as 0, r equal to 0. Therefore 1432 is exactly divisible by 8. Moving on, divisibility by 9. Now the divisibility by 9 is quite similar to divisibility by 3. Again we have to check if the sum of the digit is a multiple of 9. Now for example, I will take in this case 432. Add it up. Sum of the digits, 4 plus 3 plus 2. It is 9. Now we know 9 is a multiple of 9. 9 times 1 equal to 9. So therefore 432 is divisible by 9. Moving on, divisibility by 10. It's the easiest. All you have to do is check if the last digit is 0. If you observe all the multiples the few which we have over here, the multiples always end with a 0. So it's quite easy. Just check if the number has a 0 in the end. If the last digit of the number is 0, then the number is divisible by 10. Okay, now here is a summarization of all the rules. Hope you have understood all the rules. Watch out for the next video on how does the divisibility of 3 and 9 actually work. Thank you and hope to see you next time. Bye.